My mother told me I was an accident, and I tried to erase it, but my brain ran it back again like a fatal collision. Brutal, but it claims your attention. And I guess it was fitting because at every new school, it was all eyes on me like 2020 vision. The talk of every class, but when I tried to show them who I was, no one listened. I was just a foster kid who never fit in. So when the lack of being heard boiled over, I became a villain. Then my mother told me I was better off with those people, not understanding it was just a no evil, like a sequel. Two sides of the same coin. I was doomed either way it landed. The only difference was whether or not the abuse was secondhanded. You see, at home, I could usually see it coming before it was too late. But with strangers, it could go either way. Eventually, I was always the problem. So I learned real young to disassociate. And then my mother told me I was useless. So I believed it. I wore it like an S on my chest, started taking pride in not being needed. I learned to blend in, which led to people pleasing, trying not to stand out because it was safe for not being seen, and being invisible for so long led to wanting to disappear. It's not like anyone would know if I was no longer here. I mean, it truly be fate. Because after all, I was just a mistake, and my mother told me I was an accident. I'm an accident. I'm useless. I don't belong. This story lived in me for so long. This story became a narrative that I thought was unique to me. I thought I was struggling with this all alone. I thought I was one of one. The same story led me down a dark path, a destructive path of addiction, depression, homelessness, suicidal attempts, and eventually incarceration. Until I decided I was going to rewrite the story. It didn't have to end how it started, and I gave myself permission to change the narrative. I got sober and I did the work healing my own trauma. And in doing so, it made me realize I had a passion for sharing my story and helping others do the same. So recently, I launched my initiative, Trauma to Triumph, which is a training to make trauma-informed care accessible to all for free. When I was doing my research in order to make this training, I read a statistic that said 1 in 4 children will experience trauma before they reach adulthood. And that is just the ones who report it. That's only the people who have the courage to say something about it. That means 1 in 4 people who are watching this video right now have or will experience trauma in their life. And that means the kids at your child's school that you invite to your party, 1 in 4 of them have experienced trauma. If you're a teacher, 1 in 4 of your students have experienced trauma. And it goes on and on and on. And what are we doing about this? How do we make sure our kids are getting the support and the care that they need? How are we intervening before children go down that dark path that I went on? We have to be proactive. And that is what Trauma to Triumph is for. To make this knowledge acceptable and accessible to the communities. So teachers can log into YouTube and get the information. So parents can log into YouTube and get the information. So you don't have to go somewhere or pay some money to know how to support the kids in your community. It might not be your child. It might be the friend of your kids. It might be a kid on their swim team or their basketball team. But you knowing how to support and recognize the signs of trauma in our youth could change the trajectory of their whole lives. So tune in with me every week to be a part of the Trauma to Triumph team. Together, we are going to change the way the world supports our youth. And they say that it takes a village. That is so true. We got to learn that we are not individuals, but we are one when we stand in unity. And we all have a duty and a responsibility to come around our children and make sure we give them the support, the care, and the love that they need. And that starts by being informed. That 1 in 4 is your neighbor. So tap in with me, hit that link below to subscribe, And I'll see you guys next week for Trauma to Triumph, week 3. And if you're new here, go back a couple weeks and get caught up. And make sure you bring your notes. Remember, you matter. And what you do matters. How you show up matters. The kids need us.